Hi friends, Heidi am back with volume 2 of my personal picks of films, documentaries to see at this year's Hot Dogs Festival. Again, the festival is running from April 28th to May 8th in Toronto in person or across Canada online. So this volume 2 of my picks will focus on female directors. The first film I want to highlight is called Alice by directors Claire Weiskopf and Nicholas van Helmerick. This is part of the Made in Chile program, hence why I picked it as well. So it tells the story of street involved teenagers from Bogota who create a fictional character who evolves into a vehicle to reveal their own experiences. This is an intimate coming of age story of hope that reveals that through the perseverance of these girls, they can imagine that a new universe is possible regardless of their current circumstances. So that is Alice by directors Claire Weiskopf and Nicholas van Helmerick. Another film, I think this is Canadian, and it's called Gabor by director Joni Lafraniere. And this is a feel-good portrait about the director and her friendship with 93-year-old social documentary photographer Gabor. So because they are friends, that allows the filmmaker to sort of give us a very personal glimpse into Gabor as a photographer, but also allows her to have access to his places that he revisits in terms of places that have shaped him and his work. And also along the way, she'll learn valuable lessons on how to grow old with dignity and elegance. So that is Gabor by director Joni Lafraniere. Another film is by a filmmaker that I met through Hot Dogs a few years back through her film Shiners. That is director Stacy Tannenbaum, and she's back with the film Scrap, which is a love letter to the things we use in our daily lives. This documentary tells the story of people who each have a connection to objects that have reached their end of life. And together, the stories give us a deeper environmental and human message about our connection and relationship to things, the sadness that we feel at their eventual loss, and the joy that we can find in giving them a new purpose. I like the way that Tannenbaum tells stories about people and things, so I am looking forward to this latest film, Scrap, by director Stacy Tannenbaum. Another film on my radar is Bernie Langill Wants to Know What Happened to Bernie Langill by director Jackie Torrance. This is supposed to be a whodunit type of documentary that is basically Bernie Langill, the grandson, trying to uncover the truth around the strange circumstances of his grandfather's and namesake, Bernie Langill's death. He died in 1968, so he wants to know what precipitated the discovery of his dead grandpa in his own bed, create some quirky, maybe absurd scenarios. The description is probably not giving the film justice, so I just want to put this on this radar, or your radar actually, to add Bernie Langill Wants to Know What Happened to Bernie Langill by director Jackie Torrance. That's a Canadian film also. Or maybe it isn't, so don't quote me on that. Another film by a director whose films I also discovered at Sundance is director Shalini Kantaya. She's back to Hot Dogs with TikTok Boom. The film premiere at Sundance this year is an excellent documentary. I've seen it, but I'm going to watch it again because I want to share this experience with friends and other people. I want other people to see Shalini Kantaya's film. The film is basically, it dives headfirst into the origin story of this new app that has taken the world by storm, TikTok. For those of you who are using it, you know what I'm talking about. For those of you who have no idea, this would be a good primer for you to watch. So Kentaya takes us through the Chinese ownership of the app, the geopolitical concerns around that, and the user experience of the app as well. I don't want to give too much away about the film. I think there are very interesting and different stories in that documentary about TikTok and how it's become so influential around the world, even though it may have some problematic things about it. But I think it's a film that would generate a lot of discussion. I know that it's part of the Big Ideas program, and there's going to be a talk that will accompany the film. So I definitely recommend it to you. It's called TikTok Boom by director Shalini Kantaya, who also did Coded Bias, and that was at the festival last year. Another film that also premiered at Sundance is called Aftershock by directors Paula Eiselt and Tanya Lewis-Lee. They are basically women who've witnessed the rise of mothers dying from complications during childbirth in the US, and they were moved to look into it and sort of to amplify the voices of the women who are suffering and to shine a light on those communities who are hit hardest, and to also hopefully find solutions from the very people who are grieving because of the circumstances around death in childbirth. So that is Aftershock by directors Paula Eiselt and Tanya Lewis-Lee. I'm very much looking forward to this film. Another film that I definitely want to give a shout out to, and I did not include in my volume 1, but it's dear to my heart, is called Mija by director Isabel Castro. That film premiered at Sundance, and it follows Doris Munoz, who's an ambitious young music manager whose undocumented family depends on her ability to launch pop stars to sort of make it through the year. She basically has to hustle to discover new talent after she loses her biggest client, and it kind of allows us to see her journey in the hustle, but also meet other artists who are first generation Latin American young artists who are basically trying to create and be artists and struggle with the demands of the parents and that family and culture that requires us that we support our parents and family no matter what. It's a very endearing film. I think it will touch the heart of many of you, not just us who are Latin American with immigrant parents. That is Mija, director Isabel Castro. Another film on my radar that is of Latin American, a Latin American story is For Your Peace of Mind, Make Your Own Museum by directors Pilar Moreno and Ana Indara. So in a tiny village in Panama lived a lady named Zenobia. She was an elderly woman who saw the world through her own creative lens. She was a free spirit. She refused to conform to conventional ideas of womanhood. So she decided to turn her surroundings into art and poetry and transformed her own house into the Museum of Antiquities of All Species. In the wake of deforestation that decimated her community, the directors bring together elderly women who knew Zenobia, and this is where the story unfolds. I'm very curious about this film. For Your Peace of Mind, Make Your Own Museum, directors Pilar Moreno and Ana Indara. Another film that from the description, I just felt really curious about is Once Upon a Time in Uganda by director Chubeck. And the film documents the explosive rise of a new genre of cinema that has captured the imagination of film fans around the world. I have heard about this, but I don't know enough about it. In the heart of Okaliga, Uganda, this outrageous documentary follows two men who are unlikely friends who have now come together because they have a shared love for Chuck Norris. And basically they are, one person is in Uganda, the other person is in New York. They befriend each other and they're like, let's create this new thing. So against all odds, the two unlikely friends have catapulted Hollywood to worldwide stardom with their gonzo action movies. Some of them are Who Killed Captain Alex, Bad Black, and Crazy World. So look for those online or read about them online. But the film that I want to put on your radar is called Once Upon a Time in Uganda, so you know more about the story, and it's directed by Chubeck. So these are the films who are directed by women who are basically bringing us some very interesting stories that are not just hopeful, but also quirky. And sometimes we need quirky and feel-good films as well, even in the documentary genre. So I hope that you're able to see some of these films and share what you like about them. Again, the Hot Dogs Festival runs from runs until May 8th. It starts April 28th. And for more information, go to the festival website at hotdogs.ca. There is so much information, very easy to navigate, and you can buy your tickets and passes to either go watch these films in person or from the comfort of home across Canada.